being a Buffalo Bills fan than breaking tables. Welcome to the More Than Breaking Tables podcast, a show about what really makes up the greatest fan base in the NFL. We're talking football with experts and fans from around the country. Here's your host and proud member of Bills Mafia, Connor Kobis.
What is up, Bills Mafia? Connor Kobis here with my partner in crime, Pasquale Maggiore. Episode 3 of More Than Breaking Tables. We are starting to pick up momentum as we are about a month away from the kickoff of the NFL season. Today we're going to touch on the Bills inter-squad practice that they had at the stadium, some news with James Cook and his holdout in training camp, and we're also going to touch on Hard Knocks, which debuts tonight, 9 o'clock on HBO. So real quick, kicking the show off, Pasquale, you said you were at the practice. I was there myself. I have some opinions on it. What was your take as a fan? How did you like the experience? What did you see?
Yeah, I am a big fan. Oh, good evening, by the way. I'm sorry. I was very...
Good evening.
Just to jump into that diatribe. I'm a big fan of the return of the blue and red. Logistically, it can be a little bit challenging. We're talking about Friday afternoon. I think I left Williamsville at 3:30, got to the stadium in my parking spot around 5:15. So obviously a bit of a challenge there with traffic, but what you're trying to do, you're trying to get families, you're trying to get kids in to the stadium, people that wouldn't normally come to a regular season game for one reason or another. Thought the Bills did a great job. I would be a little more, I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say here. I would be get a little more variety when it came to the music. I understand this is geared towards the players, but once again, you have more people in the stands, so maybe more of a mix of music. I wouldn't be afraid to throw in some Miley Cyrus here and there, maybe some Billy Joel for people like myself, and a little country music. You know, Buffalo's a big country music town. I would fix that a little bit. I will tell you this. It seemed like the concession stands were not ready for prime time. I was with a buddy of mine along with my wife. Strong complaint from him about the way that the operations were going. I know the people I dealt with when I got a beverage were a little out of their element. It seems like they might have been new hires. So what was it, 39,000 people altogether reported to the stadium, I believe?
Yeah, there was over 39,000 just for a practice, which shows you just how much attention this team gets with how well we've done over the recent years. You touched on the music. I was okay with the music. I didn't like the session where they pumped in fake crowd noise for about 20 to 30 minutes. Thought that was really annoying. I know what they were trying to do, simulate a road game. It was with backups and some other starters. I just thought that got to be a little too much. What did you think of that?
No, I get what you're saying, but, you know, this is for the team in the long run, too. So if that's going to help the team, you know, meet their goals and practice properly, then I'm totally fine with it. But as a fan, as a spectator, I would have liked a little bit different music for at least a little while.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Variety, mix it up a little bit. I had my eyes on Keon Coleman a lot. They were throwing a lot of balls to him. He did have one drop over the middle that some people talked about on social media. But if you watched him, he was going up against prime cornerbacks on the defensive side of the ball. He made a lot of contested catches. So I was really looking forward to seeing him kind of perform in a practice setting. And we have our first preseason game against the Giants on Saturday. I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
Yeah, I'm not going to lose sleep over dropped balls in a scrimmage. So, I mean, I get where you're going with that, but I'm not going to lose sleep over that. We'll see what the breakdown is going to be when it comes to Saturday's game, how they plan on playing the starters. You know, personally, it's a Kids' Day game. You're going to have a lot of fans in there, so I do believe you have to play the starters at least a few series. We'll see how that goes. You know, once again, you want to think about the regular season, but you also want to think about the fans that are in attendance. So you want to make sure everybody is happy and everybody is satisfied.
Yes, and one thing too, special teams note, what did you think of backup kicker Ray Davis during practice? He's number 2 behind Tyler Bass on the depth chart. That shocked me. I did not know he had that in him. Normally a punter is your backup kicker, but he was taking some extra points out there.
Yeah, let's watch the hamstrings. Let's watch the calves. Let's watch the Achilles. If Ray didn't train in the offseason to do that, I'm not really sure, you know, why we would do that. Why can't you grab somebody from Buff State or ECC or even, you know, UB Just grab a kid, have him come in and kick. You don't need to use your backup running back as a kicker, but that's just my opinion for what it means.
Yeah, we need them to be healthy for sure. Tonight, big night. More Than Breaking Tables always kicks off at 7 o'clock. 2 hours, HBO. Hard Knocks. You going to be watching?
I will not watch tonight because we go to bed around 8:15, but I will be watching tomorrow or Thursday.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching at 9 o'clock. I'm excited about it. They've shown a little bit of previews. You could see the camera crew at the Bills practice. And Josh has great sound bites that you know how he can be with his personality. It's funny because I talked to a friend of mine today, and he said when the Jets were on Hard Knocks, as a Bills fan, you hate the Jets, but it made you kind of like the Jets when you see them in the behind the scenes. So I can only imagine what this show is going to do for people who already like the Bills.
You know what's really cool about this whole Hard Knocks thing? I work in Williamsville. I work off of Main Street in Williamsville. And as I was driving down Main Street today, I saw signs for Hard Knocks, which was really cool. They were right by auto dealerships, right near the corner of the road. So, they're really trying to get the word out there. Obviously, 247. I will never mention Spectrum News on this program except for that one time. 247, definitely on board with Hard Knocks. A lot of buzz on social media. A lot of people getting excited to watch it. Once again, I am excited it's coming on, but that's the joy of streaming. Going to bed at normal bedtime tonight, and I will watch it either tomorrow or the day after. Make fun of me, call me names. That's totally fine. I have a routine to keep, and I'm going to keep that.
Yeah, I just realized, too, I got to get somebody's HBO Max login, or else do I bite the bullet, pay $10 a month, cancel after the Hard Knocks is over?
I would just pay the $10 a month and just cancel when Hard Knocks is over. That's just me, though.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad idea. I don't want to be liable for somebody else's login. Training camp is still progressing along. Some news, James Cook has been in street clothes the last couple of days. When asked if he's practicing or why he's holding out, he said business. There's some business around the league. A premier running back for the Rams, Kyren Williams, got a 3-year, $33 million deal. And why that's interesting is because we talk about contracts and what the market's like for that. Some premier running backs like Saquon Barkley already had their payday. But Kyren Williams is a very good back, top 10, had a better season than James Cook, has a better usage rate than James Cook. He's a third down back. James Cook is very good running back. Love him for the Bills. He plays about 47% of the snaps. Not a pass blocker, not a third down running back. So the way I look at it, Pasquale, negotiations for contracts should start in that range of Kyren Williams, between $9 to $11 million a year. I think if he wants anything north of that, that's crazy, and we got to potentially move him or do something else. But I think it's clear as day what he's worth as a running back.
Yeah, when it comes to media coverage of situations like this in 2025, you never know who to believe. So I know the number was thrown out there via Instagram or what is the Twitch or something, that he wanted $15 million a year. Obviously way too much money. He is a great running back, but I have bought into trusting the process. I have bought into the group as a whole rather than one individual player. I have said this since the beginning of the offseason. If James Cook wants to find a trade, if James Cook wants to sit out, I could not care less. I could not care less. I'm focused on the team as a whole. I understand this situation. And great point about the running back out in Los Angeles. You got to look at that number and go from there. I don't see paying a running back $15 million a year. Unfortunately, that position has gone down when it comes to pay for one reason or another. You're getting defensive backs that are getting paid over $20 million a year. You're getting quarterbacks that are getting paid over $60 million a year. There is a salary cap in the NFL, so unfortunately even wide receivers are getting, ridiculous amounts of money. But, you can't pay everybody. So if James Cook has to go, if James Cook has to sit out, I'm totally fine with that. And I'm focused, once again, on the team as a whole, not on one individual player, especially in the role of a running back.
Yeah, and the running back position is very interesting because you have a shorter shelf life as an athlete. Usually you're only getting that one big payday after your rookie contract expires. So James Cook, whatever he gets per year, the next time he's due for a contract, he's going to be 28, 29 years old, and the market's just not going to be as good because a lot of teams do running back by committee. There's running backs coming out in the draft each year that you can have on cheap contracts. So it's definitely something I understand from his point of view to get paid, but you just got to look at the market. And I thought Kyron Williams, I put him on the same level as James Cook. So hopefully they can come to some sort of agreement. But just what you kind of echoed, it's a team effort. We have Ty Johnson, we have Ray Davis. I'm sure we can still get the job done as an offense without him.
Yeah, I'm not worried at all. We also have Josh who can run the ball himself. Obviously, we want to see him run less and rely more on the running game, but that weapon is there when we need it. So, I mean, time will tell. Things will play out. I saw one of the beat reporters for the Bills report that he's sitting out because they're close to a contract agreement. And then Brandon Beane was on another talk show and he mentioned, we reached out, we made an effort, but it didn't seem like there was, an equal interest on Cook's side. So once again, you never know who to believe. You never know what to believe. So much stuff is going to get floated out there. And a lot of stuff is going to get floated out there for the sole purpose of, likes, clicks, engagement on social media. So that's where you really got to be careful and really, trust where you're getting your news from. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. There's so many media outlets out there and everybody's trying to get the advantage and get, their news out there as well. So really be careful when you hear news or see news about this entire James Cook situation.
Definitely. And we'll see how that unfolds as we still have the rest of this week. And speaking of the rest of this week, we end with the preseason game against the Giants. Can't believe it's already here. Love the fact that the NFL shortened it to 3 preseason games and we extended the regular season 1 week. I think that's enough time to see what you have in a roster. Fans want meaningful football games, and I think 3 games is the perfect number. Giants coming to town. Dable, old offensive coordinator. Giants are an interesting team this year. They got Russell Wilson over from the Steelers. Jameis Winston's in their quarterback room. They have Tommy DeVito. Just a bunch of personalities in that room, and Dable is kind of jobs on the line this year. He needs to make something happen.
Yeah, as I mentioned in a previous episode, I listen to WFAN a lot to get the Mets news and find out what's going on in the baseball world. So I hear a lot of Giants talk. I hear a lot about what's going on. I respect listening to Tiki Barber when he talks about the Giants being a former player. And yeah, definitely, this is going to be a make or break year for Daboll. We'll see what happens. I'm sad that I can't go to the game on Saturday, but, something came up in the meantime. But I usually like going to the first preseason game or, if this is the only preseason game, I should say. So kind of disappointed I won't be going. I like the preseason game because it's kind of a way to, as a fan, get prepared for the season. You figure your route out to the stadium, you figure out where you're going to park, you figure out your routine, and you work on it like the players work on the game plan. So disappointed I'm not going to be able to go, but I will definitely try to check out a replay of at least the first quarter on Sunday.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll have that on NFL Network. And Dable is interesting. I mean, with ROC Joe Brady potentially getting in the market for a head coach after this season, that position could be available. And if Dable gets let go, I would be open to a potential reunion if he would come back as the offensive coordinator. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, why not? But again,
that's success.
For sure, yeah. We talk about, rumors and things of that nature, and I know there was a lot of rumors out there that Dable didn't get along with Sean McDermott. Once again, you believe who you're going to believe. You never know if that's legit or not, but yeah, why wouldn't you welcome him back?
Yeah, with the success he had in Josh's growth as a quarterback from years 2 through 4, and I would certainly like that, the familiarity. I think Bills fans would also welcome it. So we touched on Hard Knocks. We touched on the Giants preseason game. Overall, training camp's kind of moving along. We have the practices that are going along. There's been news in the league regarding some big-time players requesting trades. Micah Parsons out of Dallas, which is crazy. We still have the Hendrickson stuff. Do you think these guys are just making a bunch of fuss about nothing and they're just going to go back to the team that they're requesting the trade from?
Similar to the James Cook situation, I really don't care. Once again, I feel like this stuff is more for just keeping the NFL in the spotlight. We talked about Terry McLaurin and Micah Parsons. Was there any other players that wanted to be traded to? I don't know. Well, who's the flavor of the week?
Yeah, it's all of them. There's talks about teams renegotiating contracts, all that stuff, and I'm content with the Bills team that we have. Everything's good to go. We just got to stay healthy and stay focused on James Cook. He's the only one that's on our team that really matters.
As a whole, I'm just sick of wide receiver drama in general. I'm so sick of hearing the story about, this guy's not getting the ball enough. This guy wants to be traded. This guy doesn't like his quarterback. This guy can't wake up in time to get to practice in the morning. I'm just tired of it. I don't want to hear about it anymore. Again, as soon as I see this stuff leak out about McLaurin and Micah Parsons, I'm like, I don't care. I don't know if it's just being a more mature adult fan, but I just really don't care. Me, 10, 12, 15 years ago, would have been locked on Twitter, what it was called at the time, kids. I would have been listening to the local sports talk radio show to find out what was going on, but now I just don't care. Let me take my dog to the park for a walk. The James Cook situation will work its way out. Terry McLaurin situation will work its way out. Micah Parsons will find a way to get paid because he is one of their elite players, but that can all take place in the background. Let me enjoy the 7 days that are left of summer.
7 days. It's almost crazy. Bill season right around the corner. The numbers for contracts for some of these guys are astronomical. We talk about Josh and his willingness to take a pay cut to help the Bills. I think that's awesome. We talk about cap hits. His is going to be much less than players like Jackson and Mahomes are for the Ravens and the Chiefs. The Ravens have been scrimmaging with the Colts so far in training camp, and Anthony Richardson kind of light up their defense a little bit. Jackson was struggling. Do you think the Ravens might have a down year coming off of their campaign last season?
Yeah, rewinding a little bit, don't ever ask me to explain an NFL contract because I have no idea what goes on with those things.
Yeah, you're good. I'll explain it.
You're gonna have to, because I have no idea. What was the big move the Ravens made this offseason? They got that defensive back or something? They
got Jair Alexander from the Packers. They brought in DeAndre Hopkins, who I think is kind of over the hill, just a name, another receiver for Jackson. They still have Kyle Hamilton and some big names on defense, but
yeah. So once again, the Ravens are the off-season AFC and Super Bowl champions. Congratulations to you. We'll see you at the home opener when you get thoroughly stomped up and down the field from the Buffalo Bills, and it's going to be an exciting game. It's the last year at Highmark Stadium, and I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, I want more of an aggressive game plan. The way we played them in the playoffs, it was kind of play conservative, mistake-free. Lamar turned it over. I want to see a high-powered offense go attack this defense and put the NFL on notice week one. I think that's the number one game that everyone's going to be wanting to watch.
For sure. Sunday Night Football is the new Monday Night Football. It's the biggest game of the week. You got to pace yourself, though, because Sunday's a long day. 8 o'clock rolls around, not to mention we will be there at Highmark Stadium watching the game. I got to take the next morning off because there's no way in hell I'm going to work after a Sunday night home opener in Orchard Park.
Yes, vacation request will be submitted tomorrow. That's a full day event. Go to tailgate around 1 o'clock. I'm going to watch some of the 1 o'clock games, have fun following fantasy football, Survivor, what have you, and then 4 o'clock, focus on the tailgate, get ready to go. I think the fans are going to be buzzing, and we were really jacked up for that Ravens game last year. A home opener is almost like a holiday in Buffalo with how big it is for Bills fans. So get there early and be ready to cheer.
Yeah, you might want to refer to me as a bit of a nerd or a geek, but with this success, I really do miss the 1 o'clock football games. Once again, speaking as a grown adult, getting to the stadium at like 9, 10 o'clock, having your couple-hour tailgate, getting in the stadium at 1 o'clock, a little before 1 o'clock, I should say, getting out of there at 4:30, getting home around 6 o'clock. I kind of miss those days, but unfortunately, that's what comes with success. You don't have those 1 o'clock Sunday games, and the draft is pretty much meaningless if you're looking for that sexy, high-profile pick.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk about the Bills having that success. They went over the AFC East champions from the last 10 years. Last 5 years, it's been the Bills, and the 5 years before that, it was the Patriots. So you kind of see one team dominating the division. Brady was there, it was the Patriots. Now Josh has kind of taken over. Going into this season, I don't see anyone being a super big threat to us in the AFC East. I think we have this division pretty well like on top of that until something drastic happens with one of these other teams.
No, I hear Mike McDaniel spouting off his usual nonsense down in Miami with the reporters, trying to get everybody to be his friend, trying to get everybody to be on his side. The Jets are going to be this hard-ass team. Not going to happen. I am looking forward to seeing how the Patriots are going to be. I have a lot of respect for Mike Vrabel, not only as a player, but as a coach. Drake May coming up. They did add some players. They had a solid draft, some people would say. So I'm looking forward to seeing how big of a challenge that New England will put up this year. Once again, not worried at all about the Jets or the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are one of the biggest jokes in the NFL. You got Tyreek Hill always shooting his mouth off, can't keep out of trouble off the field. Tua Tagovailoa, whatever his name is, Tua, is put on this pedestal like he's some great, amazing, tremendous quarterback. He's got the concussion issues. You got Mike McDaniel, who's, great. He's a cute little kid. Not the greatest football coach we've seen so far. He's gotten them close, but hasn't gotten them over the hump and gotten them a playoff win. And I feel like they're just going to continue to decline this season, and we won't have to worry about them at all.
Yeah, we have the Dolphins number, so those are usually 2 wins a year. We get them on Thursday night, week 3, and then later on in the season going into Miami. I think this might be his last year, Mike McDaniel. He simply just hasn't had consistent success in the playoffs. Tua obviously has those injuries, but I don't think he's the guy that's going to be able to battle with your Allens, Mahomes, Burrows, Jackson. He's not on that level. He never will be.
Yeah, not everybody is meant to be an NFL head coach, so good for Mike McDaniel for getting a shot. But you know what, kid, go back to being a coordinator. Maybe you go work up in the office. Maybe, you transition to be one of those people that pour the water in the players' mouths. But unfortunately, being a head coach just isn't for Mike McDaniel. And it really makes me mad. Now you got me ranting and raving, Connor.
That's what we like. We want to get you a little fired up, man. I like that about you.
Well, good. He gets such the benefit of the doubt from media outlets because he's not like the prototypical, Mike McCarthy coach where he's just a big football coach, big dumb idiot. They think he's some like intelligent, some smart being. He's not. He's shown himself not to be that way. Oh, he cares about his players. He wears cool sneakers. Nobody cares. In the end, he's going to go back to being a coordinator or doing something else for an NFL organization. It just wasn't meant to be. Sorry, Mike, you gave it a shot. It just wasn't for you. Now it's time to focus on another career choice.
Definitely. That's pretty harsh. Hopefully Mike McDaniel isn't a listener of the podcast. He could definitely get a little bit rattled. It could throw him off, but no lies detected. I agree with your assessment, and the Bills just own the Dolphins, so not really worried about that. You mentioned Drake May and the Patriots. They're going to be probably the toughest test going into year 2. What's your whole thing of, we had the rematch against Diggs when he went to Houston, but now we see him twice a year. What do you think that dynamic's going to be like as a fan? Are you still anti-Diggs right now? Do you like what he did in Buffalo, or what's your whole standpoint on that?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting story. We'll see how he's looking coming off that devastating injury and see, that first game that we play against them is going to be very chippy. The fans are definitely going to be getting into it, but, I'm not sure if that's going to last for the whole season. Like, we'll see if he can continue to stay healthy. He's playing for another contract, so he's really got to, buckle down and have a good year. And I was watching this great interview that was posted by Bob Kaczynski with him and Vic Carucci, and they were talking about the ball that he could not catch against Kansas City the year before last. And I thought more and more about that. I'm like, this guy, a lot of bravado, talks a lot, but when it comes down to it, yeah, he'll get his stats, but where are those major catches? Where are those major game-changing catches? And, recency bias is a real thing. The last time we saw Stephon Diggs on the field, he was dropping that pass, against the Kansas City Chiefs, and that could have been definitely a game changer if he caught that pass, possibly a touchdown. Not on that play. If he didn't make it on that play, maybe the next play, maybe the play after that. So, he wants to talk all this trash, sorry, I wore myself talking about Mike McDaniel. He wants to talk a lot and try to be in the spotlight, but, actions speak louder than words is what I was getting into. I was very long-winded with that.
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, ultimately, he wanted to break away from the Bills and Josh, which I think is crazy with all the success they had together. Got hurt in Houston, did a little bit of good things there, and now he's on the team that the Bills consistently just own in the division. So good luck going up against the Bills twice a year, because I'd like to see us beat Diggs and the Patriots. I'm going to be a little bit fired up for that one.
Yeah, and we had that boat incident with whatever he had in his mouth.
Yeah.
And, Vrabel's not going to tolerate that stuff. The New England Patriots organization is not going to tolerate that stuff, especially now as they're trying to, rebuild what they once had and get back into a playoff spot.
Yeah, and AFC is going to be a bunch of teams fighting for wild cards. There have been a lot of changes this year, so we'll see how that unfolds. What is your score prediction for this preseason game? Usually they're low scoring. Not a lot of offense. What's your gut feel?
I'm going to go 17-9 Bills.
I literally was going to say 16-9, so I think we have a consensus prediction. 16, 17-9 Bills, low scoring game. Hopefully we get some big splash plays from some of the rookies. They released the depth chart today, so please go check that out. See where your favorite players are. See some of the battles that are going to be going on. And it's about time to wrap up the show and get ready for Hard Knocks. You got to get to bed, right? You're going to bed soon?
Yeah, about 45 minutes. And
45 minutes, yeah. And then get excited.
Might watch half of an episode of The White Lotus, and then we'll get ready to go to bed.
What season of The White Lotus are you on?
We're actually in season 1. I believe we're in episode 6. So
that's the only season I watch, and I like that. So good stuff.
That's on the docket. So if you want to find me on social media, I'm having a bit of a thing with X right now, so I'll promote my Instagram at WNY Pasquale. Find me over there. Make sure, as always, you subscribe to the YouTube channel at WNY Pasquale. Buffalo Championship Wrestling is back on Saturday, September 27th with the Big Fall Bash, 6:30 p.m. bell time. bcw-wny.com for tickets there, and make sure you're following us on social media at BCWWNY, Facebook, Instagram, and once again, I'm having issues with X. We're there, but I think I'm over X.
Yeah, definitely some issues, but we'll get it all figured out. So for Pasquale Maggiore, Connor Kobis, we're signing off. Feel free to follow. Thanks for the listeners. We're going to keep it rolling next week. We'll talk about some more Bills talk as we gear up for the last season at Highmark Stadium.
Yeah, and thank you so much for listening. I just want to apologize. Last week we had some technical difficulties at the end of the program. So if you stayed to the very end and you saw some awkwardness, I apologize for that. That's my computer. That has nothing to do with the man who hosts this show, Connor Kobis. I forgot to put that in at the beginning of the program, so why not hit it at the end?
Go Bills.
Go Bills.